Welcome to the Explainer. High school is usually just about surviving exams, but today, we're talking about surviving an actual zombie apocalypse. If you've been following the updates for season 1 of All of Us Are Dead, you already know there's a massive shift in the conversation happening right now. A huge production leak just completely flipped everything we thought we knew about the finale. So grab a seat, because we're going to break down exactly what the latest sources are telling us and investigate a television mystery that has literally kept everyone guessing for years. Because for years, fans have debated one singular, agonizing question. Is Lee Cheong-san really dead? I mean, we all saw the finale, right? We saw him trapped, we watched the military drop those bombs. The logical assumption we all made was that he died right there in that massive explosion, reduced to ash. It seemed so incredibly definitive, just an emotional, tragic end to a beloved character. But, as it turns out, that assumption might be entirely wrong. Okay, let's dive into this because the absolute biggest piece of news straight from the source is that Netflix has officially confirmed actor Yoon Chan-young is returning for season 2. Yep, he is back. No way around it. This isn't just some wild fan rumor. It's a confirmed production update. But, and this is a massive but, this huge revelation comes with a massive catch. Nobody at Netflix has revealed exactly how he survived. They just dropped the bombshell that he's returning and left the actual mechanics of his survival entirely in the dark. Part 1, The Impossible Return, investigating the Season 1 finale. So to figure out exactly how Cheong-san survived that devastating explosion, we need to put on our detective hats and really look at the timeline. About 30 minutes before the bombing, Cheong-san gets bitten by Guinam. Fast forward to 5 minutes prior, and he makes this ultimate sacrifice to pull the zombies away and save his friends. Then, 0 seconds, the bombing happens, completely wiping out the area. But look at that very last point on the timeline. Days later, when the dust finally settles, his body was never clearly shown or found. And in any forensic investigation, the lack of a body at ground zero, that is your first major clue that things aren't what they seem. Which brings us to part 2, the half-zombie theory. Biological clues from the outbreak. This missing evidence leads us straight into the biology of the outbreak itself. We can actually use the science of this fictional virus to make his impossible survival, well, highly probable. And the grand irony here, the actual key to his entire survival, is that lethal bite from Guinam. Think about it. The very thing that we thought doomed Cheong-san before the bombs even dropped, that might actually be the biological loophole that saved his life. Because based on the source material, Guinam wasn't just your regular infected. His bite carried something completely different. Now, what's really interesting about this slide is how his survival hinges entirely on the half-zombie mutation. Basically, this is a super rare condition where the infected person keeps their human consciousness, but they gain these incredibly powerful zombie-like abilities, and unfortunately, the terrifying urges that come with them. Since Guinam was a confirmed half-zombie, this specific mutation is literally the central piece of the puzzle when it comes to Cheong-san's fate. Let's connect the dots here. The prevailing theory, which is heavily supported by these production leaks, is that because Guinam was a powerful half-zombie, his bite transmitted that specific, mutated strain of the virus right to Cheong-san. This transformation into a half-zombie would give Cheong-san immense physical resilience. We're talking resilience strong enough to explain exactly how someone could survive a lethal military blast. It completely answers the question of why his body was never recovered at ground zero. He simply wasn't a fragile human anymore when those bombs hit. He mutated instead of dying. Part 3, a new outbreak in Seoul, the consequences of survival. But, Cheong-san's survival is really only half the story here. The nightmare absolutely did not end with that bombing. In Season 1, the tragedy was largely isolated to Haeosan High School, right? It was contained, desperate, super claustrophobic. But Season 2 moves the whole story to Seoul, where Anjo is now a university student. So we're going from this localized high school incident to a massive, chaotic scale of a brand new zombie outbreak right in the heart of the capital city. The stakes have exponentially increased. And thrown right into the middle of this sprawling new nightmare are our returning survivors. We've got Cheong-san, Namra, Soo-hyuk, and Anjo. These characters are coming back to face a brand new outbreak. But honestly, none of them are the same kids they were in Hyosan. They are carrying some incredibly heavy, deeply traumatic consequences from what happened all those years ago. They survived, sure, but the past is coming right back to haunt them in Seoul. Part 4, Hero or Dangerous Threat, the tragic reality of the half-zombie. We've spent all this time celebrating the logic of his survival, but, well, we really have to confront a tragic reality now. So the crucial point is, a happy reunion is definitely not guaranteed.
If he survived by mutating, he isn't just a human boy anymore. He's something else, existing out in the shadows. The sources strongly suggest that while he did survive, his return might not be the joyful, tear-filled embrace fans are probably expecting. Just because he's alive doesn't mean things can ever go back to normal for him, or for Anjo.
If he really did become a half-zombie to survive that explosion, his everyday existence is going to be a brutal internal war. First off, he'll be constantly fighting the zombie virus within his own cells. Second, he'll be battling these highly dangerous inner instincts, the hunger and the pure rage that define the infected. And third, he'll essentially be mirroring Namra's tragic path. I mean, surviving a military bombing is one thing. Fighting the urge to eat the very friends you just sacrificed yourself to save, that is a whole different level of trauma. His survival is a massive double-edged sword. Which leaves us with his final, chilling thought to wrap up our explainer today. Netflix has confirmed that his exact condition remains one of Season 2's best-kept secrets. He is alive, but at what cost? Will Cheong-san return to Seoul as a hero, ready to save his friends once again? Or has the virus twisted him into something far more dangerous? The evidence definitely points to survival, but the actual nature of that survival is going to be the terrifying beating heart of this new outbreak.